Between 1990 and 2010, Japan wasn't just building engines, they were forging legends. Inline sixes that laughed in the face of turbo boost, screaming four cylinders that refused to redline below 9,000 RPM, rotary engines that broke the laws of physics. These weren't just blocks of metal. They were the beating heart of a revolution that changed car culture forever. And some of them, still untouchable, still smashing records today, over 30 years later. This is why. This is the 20-year window that gave the world the greatest engines ever built. Subaru EJ257, the rally monster that refused to die. It's not the strongest engine on this list, not the most complex. But when it comes to taking abuse and staying accessible to everyday gearheads, nothing else comes close. This 2.5-liter turbocharged boxer was the backbone of the AWD performance movement, the engine that made the WRX STI a rally track legend. Thanks to its horizontally opposed layout, this engine kept a brutally low center of gravity, giving the STI that legendary cornering balance. The turbo kicks in hard at 3,500 RPM and pulls all the way to redline, growling with that unmistakable boxer rumble. Subaru built this thing knowing owners would beat it senseless, and they were right. Yes, it's infamous for ringland failure when boost gets pushed too far, but with proper care and smart tuning, 500 horsepower is well within reach, all while still running 0 to 60 in 4.5 seconds as a daily driver. 2. Mitsubishi 4G63, the iron block that wouldn't quit. Subaru's eternal rival. The heartbeat of the Lancer evolution across 9 generations. The 4G63 wrote its own chapter in motorsport history, powering 4 straight WRC manufacturer titles in the late 90s. Factory rated at 286 horsepower, but that number was a lie of modesty. The real secret? Overbuilt from the ground up. Mitsubishi cast the block from iron, dropped in factory-forged internals, and added oil squirters to cool the pistons under extreme heat. The result? An engine that laughs at extra boost. Stock internals shrugged off 400 horsepower like it was nothing. Fully built versions have smashed past 1,000 horsepower, running quarter-mile times that terrify supercars. Evo production ended in 2016, but this engine still dominates time attack circuits worldwide, proving that 2.0 liters of turbocharged fury can embarrass anyone. 3. Honda K20A, surgical precision, naturally aspirated. Forget turbo violence, the K20A is Honda's naturally aspirated masterpiece. 217 horsepower from a 2.0 engine with 0 forced induction. That's 108.5 horsepower per liter, a staggering number for its era. This is the engine that lived in the Integra Type R and Civic Type R, and it created an entire generation of Honda fans obsessed with high RPM screaming. The K20A has a split personality thanks to IVEC. Below 6,000 RPM, it's calm, civil, fully tamed. But hit VTEC and a cam profile's shift, the engine transforms into a screaming metal beast, howling all the way to an 8,400 RPM redline. To unlock its full potential, you had to keep it singing in the high range, backed by a razor-sharp 6-speed manual with surgically tight gear ratios, an aluminum block and head, micro-balanced internals. Proof you don't need forced induction to feel real driving thrill. 4. Honda F20C, the legend of 9,000 RPM. If the K20A was surgical precision, the F20C was a straight-up violation of physics. Purpose-built for the S2000 Roadster, pulling 247 horsepower at 8,300 RPM. At 123.5 horsepower per liter, this engine shattered records and humiliated supercars 10 times its price. all while screaming to an insane 9,000 RPM redline. Honda treated this engine like a street-legal Formula One unit. Fiber-reinforced metal cylinder liners, FRM, titanium connecting rods, moly-coated pistons. The result? Throttle response so instant it felt wired straight into the driver's nervous system. Hit VTEC at 6,000 RPM and the car's entire personality flips, backed by one of the purest mechanical sounds in automotive history. Reliability was legendary, hundreds of thousands of miles without a single major failure. The F20C was Honda's glorious farewell letter to pure naturally aspirated philosophy. 5. Nissan VQ35DE/HR, the democracy of performance. This engine puts serious performance within everyone's reach. The VQ35 powered cars like the Nissan 350Z and Infiniti G35. Starting at 287 horsepower and climbing to 306 in later HR versions, this engine delivered real, tangible performance for genuinely affordable sports cars. The secret behind the VQ architecture is its 60-degree cylinder angle. This design creates natural balance without needing extra balance shafts, delivering silky smooth power from idle all the way to 7,500 RPM. That deep, throaty exhaust note became audible from miles away, a signature sound. With its accessible price point, the VQ35 opened the door to a massive tuning community, where quick throttle response made intake and exhaust upgrades an easy path past 330 horsepower. Proof that solid engineering and competitive pricing can rewrite the performance map. Number 6. Toyota 1JZ GTE and Nissan RB25DET, the little brothers with superpowers. Enter the world of the inline six. This 2.5-liter twin-turbo engine was a hidden gem. Officially rated at 276 horsepower, but everyone knew reality was closer to 300. The sequential twin-turbo setup delivered instant low-end response and terrifying top-end pull. This engine became the drift world's obsession, thanks to a rock-solid iron block that let tuners rip out the complex twin-turbo setup, bolt on a single massive turbo, and hit 500 horsepower with almost no effort. Nissan RB25DET, 1993 to 2002. On the other side stood the 2.5-liter turbocharged RB25, the beating heart of the Skyline GTST R33 R34. This engine lived in the shadow of its legendary big brother, the RB26, but carved out its own legend anyway. With a single turbo and variable valve timing (VTC), the RB25 delivered incredibly linear, smooth power. Its shared architecture with the RB26, combined with a tough iron block, made it the go-to choice for budget-conscious tuners, hitting 400, even 600 horsepower without draining the bank account. Both proved the little brother can hit just as hard. 7. Nissan SR20DET, the backbone of drift culture. You can't talk about drifting without mentioning the SR20DET. This lightweight 2-liter turbocharged 4-cylinder launched thousands of professional drift careers, living under the hoods of the S-chassis lineup: Silvia S13, S14, S15. Aluminum construction kept the front end light, giving the car a nimble, drift-perfect steering. T25 and T28 turbos delivered progressive power that hit hard at 3,000 RPM, creating a wide, forgiving power band, ideal for holding momentum through tight, aggressive corners. Massive aftermarket support turned this engine into a blank canvas for tuners. Thanks to its rock-solid foundation, the SR20 could push 300 horsepower with basic bolt-ons and blow past 600 horsepower with deeper builds, turning it into an icon that spread turbo culture across the entire planet. 8. Mazda 13B-REW, rotary sorcery. Forget conventional. Mazda dropped a rebellious engineering masterpiece into the FD RX-7. A rotary engine at just 1.3 liters, weighing a mere 123 kilograms, mounted deep in the chassis to give the car a perfect 50-50 weight distribution. The sequential twin-turbo system was genius, a primary turbo for instant response and a secondary turbo that kicked in at 4,500 RPM, unleashing insane acceleration all the way to 8,000 RPM. No pistons, no valves, just triangular rotors firing 3 combustion pulses per revolution. The acceleration was pure silk, a sensory experience unlike any other internal combustion engine. Yes, it burned will by design. Yes, fuel economy was catastrophic. Yes, underhood temperatures were terrifying. But once tuners got involved, power flowed in staggering amounts. Built versions have smashed past 800 horsepower, cementing this brilliant engine's place in a category all its own. Living proof that unconventional engineering can create pure magic. 9. Toyota 3S GTE, the rally champion in disguise. The Toyota engine that demolished the competition in the World Rally Championship. This 2-liter 3S GTE was the heart that drove the Celica GT4 to victory after victory. Across 5 generations of development, output climbed to a factory-rated 252 horsepower. Built to survive brutal rally conditions, an iron block, aluminum head, and a CT26 turbocharger, delivering linear, predictable boost through dirt roads, snow, and everything in between. Bulletproof reliability and sheer durability let legends like Carlos Sainz claim championship after championship with it. And because of its versatility, this engine also found its way into the Toyota MR2, creating a compact mid-engine rocket. With basic modifications, hitting 300, even 400 horsepower was simply a matter of time. 10. Honda B16A and B18C. This is the engine that lit the spark of the VTEC revolution. A 1.6-liter 4-cylinder producing 158 horsepower at 7,600 RPM with 0 forced induction. That's 98.7 horsepower per liter in 1989. The sudden, radical shift in cam profiles at 5,800 RPM turned compact, lightweight cars like the Civic SIR into lethal weapons on twisty roads, backed by insane reliability that lasted hundreds of thousands of miles on routine maintenance. Honda B18C, the masterpiece. Then came the B18C, crowning the entire philosophy. In Type R spec, this 1.8-liter engine produced 197 horsepower at 8,000 RPM. Honda applied surgical precision to every internal component, lightweight connecting rods, special pistons that let the engine scream all the way to an 8,400 RPM redline. In the Integra Type R, this engine flipped front-wheel drive from a high-performance weakness into a terrifying strength, delivering linear throttle response mechanically wired to the driver's instincts, embarrassing bigger, pricier rear-wheel drive cars on the track. Toyota 2JZ GTE, the ultimate tuner's dream. The legend that refuses to die, the benchmark whenever the conversation turns to durability. The Toyota 2JZ GTE, the beating heart of the Supra Mk4. Toyota didn't just design an engine, they built a small nuclear reactor and dropped it under the hood. The real engineering secret was a deep, reinforced cast iron block, engineered to withstand terrifying levels of boost pressure. The crankshaft and connecting rods came forged from the factory, built to survive wars of attrition. The sequential twin-turbo system delivered instant low-end power, but the real madness began when tuners swapped it for one massive single turbo. Stock 2JZ internals routinely handle 700 to 800 horsepower like it's nothing. Push it further, and these engines have blown past 1,500 horsepower for street use and shattered the 2,500 horsepower ceiling in drag racing. The 2JZ single-handedly created an entire tuning industry around itself, becoming the default choice for anyone chasing raw, reliable power. Number 12. Nissan RB26DETT, the heart of Godzilla, the pinnacle of mechanical engineering. Nissan built the RB26DETT for one purpose only: total domination, crushing everyone in Group A racing. This 2.6-liter twin-turbo engine turned the Skyline GTR, R32, R33, R34 into a nightmare on wheels. On track, the RB26DETT literally obliterated the competition, winning 29 consecutive races in the Australian Touring Car Championship. So dominant, they nicknamed the R32 Godzilla, and officials had to rewrite the rulebook entirely just to stop the massacre. Nissan engineered the engine around a mighty iron block, but the real genius was in the intake. 6 individual throttle bodies, 1 per cylinder, giving the engine razor-sharp instant throttle response despite running twin turbos. Paired with Nissan's incredibly smart Atessa ETS all-wheel drive system, it delivered explosive corner exit power. True to Japan's gentleman's agreement, Nissan officially declared 276 horsepower, while real numbers comfortably exceeded 320 horsepower straight from the factory. Its tuning potential was limitless. Built versions have smashed past 1,500 horsepower with ease. The RB26 wasn't just an engine, it was a cultural icon that completely rewrote the world's understanding of mechanical performance, proving that Japanese power and precision could humiliate the biggest V8s on the planet.